Hello and welcome to our MS specific exercise class specifically for the MSing Link book and audiobook. This is unlike any other class I've ever taught for two reasons. One, it's going to be a shorter class, and the reason for that is I hope that it will be very doable for you. So it's going to be about 20 to 25 minutes. Now, if you're the type of person that loves taking longer classes, you're more than welcome to repeat it and do 2 rounds, or hey, even maybe 3 rounds of the exercises, depending on the amount of time you have. But you don't have to. You can just do 1 round and reap amazing benefits from it. The second way that this class in particular is different from any of the other classes that I have offered to date is because it includes 1 exercise for most of the different types of exercises, which I talk about in chapter 4 of the MSing Link book and audiobook. I review the 10 different types of exercises. Now today we are going to be covering 6 of them. So we're going to be doing cardio, we're going to have an exercise for strengthening, for stretching, for balance, for coordination, and for speed. So 1 exercise for each of those so that we can make sure we're targeting a big range of movement and not only focusing on strength or balance or flexibility, because that's typically where some people go wrong. So let's go ahead and dive in. As you hopefully know from the book, one of the best ways to start any MS-specific exercise class or routine is by doing cardio. And the reason for this is because increasing your heart rate can actually prime your brain for neuroplasticity, meaning you're that much more likely to increase neuroplasticity, to strengthen those neural pathways and or find brand new neural pathways. So let's go ahead and dive in, starting with cardio. Go ahead and sit in the middle of your chair, up nice and tall. Make sure you're not arching too much. You should be sitting as tall as you can, as if someone has a string on the top of your head and they're pulling it up. Belly muscles are engaged. Close your hands. Don't squeeze them, just close. And when you're ready, go ahead and join me and start swinging those arms. At this point, we don't actually have specific parameters for cardio. We don't know from MS research how intense it needs to be or how long it needs to be or anything like that. So what we do is just we get cardio in any way, shape, or form we can. I like to use my upper body so that our legs then aren't fatigued for lower body strengthening. All right, we're gonna go faster for 5 full seconds, our fastest seconds we can do in 3, 2, 1, go fast for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slow it down and stop and shake everything out. The next cardio exercise we're gonna do is punching forward. So go ahead and close those hands. Make sure you're still sitting up tall, belly's engaged, and we're gonna punch forward. If this bothers your shoulders at all, you can punch down towards your knees. One thing that I mentioned in the book and audiobook as a way to increase cardio is to either go faster or add more motion, so really push and pull, or add more power, as hitting as hard as you can or moving as hard as you can with some extra oomph, some extra power behind each movement. Any of those options are a great way to increase your cardio and make it more of an aerobic exercise. You don't have to do all of them. You can just pick one, whichever one you prefer. All right, we're gonna do 5 fastest seconds in 3, 2, 1, and go fast for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and slow it down, stop, shake everything out. Our final cardio exercise for today is going to be our punching bag. So I like to do this rolling punch. So again, you're gonna close your hands loosely and you're gonna roll away from you. Now you'll see if I tip forward, there's a pretty big space between my chest and my hands. That's what we want. If they're too close, you're gonna end up punching your chest or punching your chin. So make sure your arms are away from you. The higher up you're holding them, the harder this is for your shoulders. So if it's too challenging, just come down near your belly button. but if you can, keep them up here. And we're not going to do 5 fastest seconds, so keep going as fast as you can. Fast, 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 fast. If you keep hitting yourself, I don't want you to get bruises on your hands, so just open up and you can do the same thing here. Or if you're lower, it would look like this. Fast, 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 as fast as you can go for 3, 2, 1. Slow it down and then reverse, other direction. Once you've got the coordination, pick up the speed. One final way that you can make almost any movement, an aerobic or cardio movement, is to talk at the same time. It is so much harder to exercise while talking than not talking. It'll really get your heart rate going. 3, 2, 1. Slow it down. Stop. And shake everything out. Your shoulders are probably feeling the burn a little bit there. All right, so hopefully your heart rate got up with that. If it didn't, next time, take one of those advancements to increase the aerobic capacity and endurance that it requires. All right, moving into our first exercise. This is a coordination exercise. Coordination is really important if you have a goal of improving your walking. So what we're going to do is we're going to tap our right hand onto our left knee. So the left knee is going to march just a little bit. We're going to do a separate exercise that's marching, where we're going to try to lift as high as we can. This is not that. It's coordination. So what it's going to look like is tap and tap. I'll show you from the side too, just so you can see a different angle. But once you got the technique, go for it. This can be really tricky if you've never done coordination exercises or if it's been a while. But just remember, it doesn't matter how high your leg is coming, or even if your leg is coming off the ground. You might have one leg that doesn't come up at all. You might be trying to lift it. That's okay. Maybe one leg lifts and the other leg doesn't. So this is what we're doing. Go ahead and join me if you haven't already. And I'm going to turn to face the side just so you can see from a slightly different angle. So this is what it looks like. So just a little mini march here. We're more so trying to coordinate the tapping of our hand to our knee. This is really important for walking because when we're walking, we should be moving our arms in opposite direction, or not opposite direction, sorry, opposite motion of the same leg. So when I walk forward, my right arm and left leg come forward. And then my left arm and my right leg come forward. So that's what we're trying to counteract here. That's what we're trying to get to happen. So we want this coordination. Keep going. A few more seconds here. I like to do this one more for time than repetitions. But if you're someone who likes going for repetitions, maybe shoot for about 30 good quality repetitions on each side, if possible. Stop there. Take a break. If you did find that you lost the coordination, maybe you were able to do 10 like this, and then you were getting confused and your leg didn't know what to do, that's normal. Just stop, take a break. Let's do a few more. So, right hand to left knee, left hand to right knee. A few more here. We're not going to do a full set. Just going for about 10, 15 seconds more to get that coordination in. There's other ways you can do this too. If this is too confusing, if it's too challenging for your brain right now, you can always just swing forward. You don't have to tap the other leg. My left arm comes forward at the same time as my right knee lifts. Right arm comes forward at the same time my left knee lifts, and vice versa. This can be really tricky if you haven't done it. Your core stays tight. 3, 2, 1, and stop there. Shake everything out. All right, the next exercise we're going to do is for speed. So that was a coordination exercise. This next one is for speed. This is going to be really important for you if you have a goal of improving your speed of walking or climbing stairs or really any movement. The exercise we're going to do is heel lifts, but we're going to do them for speed. So we're going to quickly lift our heels up, and then we can slowly lower. Quickly up, slowly lower. The reason this is important is because as we're walking, one big important role of walking is push off, where we push off of our heel. So it looks like this. If I'm going to take a step forward, watch this leg, I need to be able to push. And this movement that we're doing in seated is this same exercise that I'm doing standing. If you prefer standing-based exercises, this is what you would do. And then you would just switch sides to make sure you get the other leg as well. But I like to do seated, especially if this is the first time that you've done it. So sitting up tall, belly is engaged, hands can be out or down by your side. Quickly up, slowly lower. Quickly up, slowly lower. So if you've been doing them as I've been talking, great job. All of those were bonus. We're going to do 12 of them together starting now. Up and down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, last one, 12, and lower. That exercise actually strengthens our calf muscles. And so if you have really tight calf muscles, they might be cramping right now. If you want, you can press pause and take a second to stretch out those calf muscles right on the back. And you can do that on both sides. Okay, we're going to move on to our balance exercise. So I'm going to show you seated and standing. You can choose whichever option you'd like to do. One is not better than the other. The seated option looks like this. You're sitting up tall, belly's engaged. Now your feet can be either wide, narrow, or somewhere in between. The wider your feet are, the easier this will be. The closer your feet are, the harder this will be. And then anywhere in between will be about in the middle. So find what you feel comfortable with. Engage your belly muscles. Hands go out to the side, and you're going to reach as far as you can in one direction without falling over, and then back to the center. And then you'll reach as far as you can in the other direction, and then back to the center. Now, if your core is engaged, if you're trying to keep it taut and active, then what you should feel is your core muscles engaging. And it should feel a little bit tricky for balance. You are trying to lift one side, like one hip up, as you reach in the opposite direction, and then the other. This standing version looks the same, and we can use the same parameters. The wider your legs, the easier, the closer, the harder, and then you can choose anywhere in between. But everything else is the same. Core is engaged. You're going to reach this way. This heel can come up off of the ground. You'll see it's up as I'm reaching this way. And then you can reach this way, and the heel comes up. And you're trying to reach as far as you can without falling over. So reach, reach, reach. You should feel this mostly in your sides, but also maybe a little bit of the front of your core. So you can choose standing or seated. If you've done any so far, great job. Those were bonus ones. We're going to do 10. So find your spot, engage your core. You're sitting or standing up as tall as you can. Let's go ahead and reach and back to the center. And reach and back to the center. So we're adding a little bit of a pause as we get to the end point. Now we're all going to be reaching a little bit different. You might be reaching further than me, or maybe I'm reaching further than you. It's not a competition. It doesn't matter as long as you feel like you are challenging yourself, like you're really reaching as far as you can. Reach. This is 5. And 5, so we're halfway, 5 more. Stay up tall. If you started rounding, come back up. Keep going. And reach. And you're trying to keep good posture this whole time. You're not rounding as you're reaching. You're not technically not reaching forward or diagonal. We could, that's a different exercise though. Reach. Reach. If you started standing and you're getting tired, you can sit down. Or if you started sitting and you want to try standing, go for it. Or if you're looking for more of a challenge, just bring your feet closer together and you'll really feel how tricky that is. Good, one more. Well, after you finish this one more each side. Reach. And one final one. Reach. And back. and relax. Let your belly hang out and relax. Shake everything out. Moving on to our strength exercise, which is marching. There's 2 ways to do this. Let me show you from this side. You can see it a little bit better. So there's actually 3 ways to do this. Option 1, you're sitting towards the edge of your chair, up nice and tall, engage your belly muscles, and you bring one up, down, up, down. This is usually the hardest variation. To make it a little bit easier, you scoot to the middle of your chair, recline backwards, engage your belly muscles, hold on, and march from here. So these are the 2 seated options. The third option is to hold on to something, engage your belly, you shift your weight, march, march. Now with each of these examples, I am demonstrating by lifting as high as I can. This is what this looks like from this side. But I want you to just lift as much as you can. Yours might look like this. And that's great. I don't want you to feel like success in this exercise or any of these exercises today is if you look like me. I'm trying to put in maximal effort that I have. You might have different level of effort today. So success for any of these exercises is not necessarily how much movement you see, but how much effort you're putting in. If you're putting in 100% effort, you got it. That's what we're looking for today. So you can choose seated, reclined, or standing for this one. If you've done any so far, you did a bunch of bonus ones. Go ahead and shake out. Choose your position. We're going to do 10 each side, so 20 total. When you're ready, go ahead and lift one leg. Doesn't matter which one. I usually start with my left and down. Then switch. We're going to alternate. I like alternating for this because when we walk, we alternate. We move one leg forward and then the other. So this just resembles walking a little bit more than if we were doing all one side first and then the other. Up, up. Slow and steady. We're not really adding a hold at any point, just slowly up and slowly down. This is 5 and 5, halfway. 5 more each side. Up, 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 up. And one more each side. One thing I say for all my exercises is you're more than welcome to go slower than me, but please don't go faster. Faster makes it easier, and we're trying to work those muscles over a longer period of time, and that's what will get endurance to kick in. Our final exercise, we've made it, is going to be a stretch. Let me change the position of my chair. So the stretch that I chose for this class is an inner thigh stretch. And the reason for that is because a lot of people with MS might have knee kissing, or when you walk, you might just walk with a more narrow gait. So your feet are here instead of your feet being here. And what happens when you do that is you're more likely to trip over your own feet, and or it can cause hip pain, knee pain, or ankle pain. And one way that we can improve that is to stretch our inner thigh. So if you have a narrow gait or your knees collapse inward at all, we have to have some flexibility here. So open your feet as wide as you can and make sure your knees follow suit. I don't want your knees caving inward, but your feet are out. If this is as far as your knees go, move your feet inward so that you're in a good alignment. Your feet are in alignment with your knees. So open as wide as you can comfortably go. Sit up tall, belly's engaged, and you're gonna hinge forward. Now you might not feel any stretch here, that's okay. You don't have to feel a big stretch in order to be getting a stretch. And that's a big lesson that I think we all have to learn. We tend to try to push until we feel it, and we assume that if we're not feeling it, it's not working. That's not the case. But what we can do here to feel the stretch a bit more is turn towards one side. And as you're turning towards that side, you're pushing the knee open. So right now I'm turning towards my left and I'm pushing my right inner thigh open just a little bit more. And we're gonna hold here. So right now I feel more of a stretch on my inner right thigh compared to my inner left, but that's okay. We're going to turn and do the other side in a bit here. Hold here. Now remember that there are parameters for each of these different types of exercises, and they're mentioned in the book and audiobook. So if you want to know more about any of these types of exercises, that's where you'd go. All right, and come back to the center. Now turn to the other side. So as I turn to my right, I'm going to push my left inner thigh open just a little bit more to hopefully feel the stretch on the inner left thigh. And make sure you keep breathing. We don't want to hold our breath for any of these. All right, and when you're ready, come back to the center. Come back up. You can shake your hands out. You can bring your legs back in towards the center. Shake everything out. That concludes class for today. Thank you so much for participating. Thank you for getting the MSing Link book or audiobook. This is a class that I was really excited to teach and to offer you. So thank you so much for participating. If you want to do a second round, go for it. You don't have to do the cardio again because we already primed our brain. You could just start right with our first exercise and repeat those, or you can be done for today. Either way, great job. Congratulations, and repeat this class as often as you'd like.